Heyo, I'm Andy, and welcome to Nockmaar, where farmcore meets abandoned citycore. Nockmaar is a dual-themed island with an abandoned citycore side and a farmcore side. The farmcore side is based off of the movie Willow, and the citycore side is based off of the full universe. The villagers on this island are Shep, Flurry, Petri, Samson, Eunice, Bella, Cephalobot, Ike, Amrey, and Boomer, and I have two player characters, me and Alora. If you'd like the tour this island, the DA is on the screen and it will be in the description for you. Alright, let's get started. To the west, we are right into the abandoned city. We have the backdrop and the bustling, tightly packed city behind resident services and a little road network. We have a crossroads where you could either go north or west. We're going to add down this creepy abandoned city road, a side road if you will. No, this side road used to have shops and stores and tourists and bustling cars and motorists zooming around getting to their day-to-day lives. We can turn the camera so you can see the rooftops continue down behind resident services there, and the carnage continues. Petri is out in a boat, probably trying to find our next victim. All the way north on the road, we are found at a dead end. There was a construction project coming around here before the war, but when the bombs fell, it collapsed the construction and the cityscape behind it. To the right, we have the Nook's Cranny, which we decorated to be a super duper mer. Someone has wisely set up camp here and is getting ready to raid the super duper mer or loot it for all of its goods. All of the super duper mer, we have some balconies up here which are completely accessible if you would like to come up here and get a bird's eye view. I can only assume whoever relaxes up here shoots some golf balls into the parking lot every once in a while, and I just love that idea. And of course, the cityscape continues to the south when you go up there. We have an alleyway with another rooftop access point just for fun. Someone is studying the stars or maybe spying on somebody in some of the apartments around the city. Who knows? The alleyway here is very cluttered, but probably re-established. Some businesses you're trying to sell old world goods like Nuka-Cola and snacks that last forever. The Fallout universe is very, very mannequin and teddy bear based. The Fallout universe has a little bit of a lure on the mannequins. Some say they might be alive. Others think that people come around and position them to look like they are doing things, and that mannequin there is manning the shop, while you can see remnants of survivors trying to keep warm in the harsh environment of the Fallout. Continuing down this road over this access bridge, we have a little bit of a park and a beach to the side, which we will get to in a second. Down this way, we have more of the city kind of built up. This is the top or rooftops of the shops down below, and when you come down this way, you can see the super duper mart, and someone has set up a little chill area for themselves, a little comfort in the apocalypse, and this is where we have the campsite. Of course, you can get a big wide view of this area to soak in all of the city aspects. Coming up from the rooftops, there is a second layer, which is Ike's radio tower. This is based off of the radio towers in full New Vegas, and Ike is up here because Ike has lost his family Ike's wife and daughter have passed during the war, but there is no sign of his son. So Ike has taken it upon himself to commandeer the radio tower and use the radio waves to try and contact his lost son. He is absolutely obsessed with the notion that his son is still alive. In his delusion, he spends a lot of time in his radio shack. So Ike's shack is very cluttered but very simple. He has what he needs to survive and all of the documents and records from all of the times that he has broadcasted on the radio waves or has heard anything in particular, whether or not it had been part of his imagination, phantom voices from constantly listening to the radio. Eaz is son's portrait to remind him of what hope he has to continue to live, and here Eaz is daughter and wife's portrait on the wall so he can enjoy a dinner with his family. Of course, he has some survival skills and has a little bit of a garden here, which he makes his food from, and he is desperately trying to grow white lilies, his wife's favorite flowers, but the radiation from the fallout has been turning the flowers black. Sometimes he does succeed in his venture. So coming down off of the radio tower, we can head back. The fallout universe doesn't really have beautiful beaches, so I wanted the beaches to look like the wasteland with dying trees and barely surviving weeds, bugs, rocks, and carnage. Coming down off the beach, we're going to make our way back to the city streets. Now, down south, we can see the remnants of the old world. A Nuka-Cola truck stocked with supplies as if all of the workers from before the war are just on break. The mannequins and teddy bears, they are playing a game of basketball. Now, whether or not these come to life and animate to play, or someone put this together just for a little bit of sanity to disturb this teddy bear versus mannequin game might come at a cost. Now, coming down to the left to resident services, we find ourselves with a view of a bit of a stadium. This is the entryway to Diamond City, but it also represents Concord and the Museum of Freedom in full fur. The resident services is the Museum of Freedom, but also the road into Diamond City. Now, what Diamond City is the largest city in the full fur universe, and it is a shanty town made from the protective walls of Fenway Park in Boston. So there are bleachers and, of course, baseball shops with old baseball equipment. And we have our armor station here representing player housing that you can purchase in full for clothing shop. We have the red tomatoes and the wheat growing in the city to sustain its people. And of course, the power noodle bar that all the locals eat at in Diamond City. And of course, this establishment is run by the robot who speaks nothing but Japanese and asks you if you want noodles or not. Coming down this way, we have some views of a couple of more rooftops and radiated mutated insects up top there. Through and up, we are walking towards Petri's practice. No, Dr. Petri practices medicine in Diamond City. You come here, you can sit in her chair and get treated for radiation with Radaway, or if you got a couple of bumps and bruises, she will administer a stim pack. No, her laboratory is great, but she does like working outside from time to time. You can see the edge of the city coming down off of this area. We can also go through and go to the back of Petri's practice, where she keeps some older supplies like wheelchairs and canned goods and a little bit of sunset sarsaparilla. And of course, you can see the alleyway that we went down before and the road system. And we got a little glimpse of Bella's diner. Before we go into Petri's home, let us check out some of the stadium, because this is also accessible to you if you want to come up and sit on the bleachers that remain from the fallout in Fenway Park. Of course, we got the construction scaffolding that represent the Greek greed monster in Fenway Park. All right, let's add in to Dr. Petri's practice. Petri's laboratory. If you are so unlucky to enter this place, chances are you're not coming out. And if you are, you're coming out as a synth. She has experiments, tools, and a few questionable things around the laboratory. No, she is a member of the Institute, and the Institute steals people and turns them into synthetic beings known as synths. Because their victims' portraits hanging on the wall, and as you can see, Boomer was a recent experiment of Petri's. Currently, she is growing her next creation in this ginormous test tube. And if you come to Diamond City, I hope that you do not become a victim of Petri. Coming out of Petri's very, very creepy practice or laboratory, we can come back down this way and continue exploring Diamond City, past the noodle bar, and over to the water treatment plant. Now, Diamond City offers protection from the wasteland, food, and clean water to those allowed entry into the city. If a wanderer does come into the city, they are always welcome to the Dugout Inn, which is literally a dugout made into an inn where you can find room and bird and a mean Brahmin stew. Inside the Dugout Inn, Cephalobot is clearly running it. This is a representation of the lobby of the Dugout Inn. We didn't do any of the actual rooms that you stay in, but we have the couch, the food, the beer, the bottles, the red chair, and of course the bar with the radio and Nuka-Cola. And Cephalobot is Mr. Andy, who runs the inn. I guess the brothers that ran it gave it to Cephalobot, or maybe it was before then. I don't know, but here it is, the Dugout Inn. After staying in the inn and moving on your way out of the city, there it is very easy to get lost in the large shanty town of Diamond City. You can see the wastelands and the sewers down below by taking this back access. And of course, we have Mer Stadium seating. And if you come up here, you can see a lonely red chair in a sea of green chairs. Legend says that the furthest home run landed right by this chair, and it was painted red for all to know how far an home run could actually be it. All right, let's go back into the city, and you can access the city from this very shady access way. And let's go over the bridge and check out the sewer. Now, this sewer belongs to Samson, the gym slash sewer rat. Not everyone that lives in Diamond City has to be down on their luck or an evil mad scientist or a robot or a depressed bear. Some people actually love city life. Now, there is a water treatment plant outside of the city. Whether or not it runs is questionable. And of course, there are some creepy mutated sea life making their way up onto the shore. No, Samson absolutely loves his life here in the sewer, and he was absolutely thrilled when he found out that The access shack to the sewer was open and free real estate for him to live his life. Surrounded by garbage, the perfect life for Samson, and easy access to the underground of the sewers. He's got gears, he's got garbage, he's got TV, a toilet, and a beautiful picture of Bella, so he can see her no matter what. He absolutely adores Bella. To live in a sewer in an abandoned city with garbage and ick and a beautiful, intriguing mouse. Samson's just living the dream here on Nockmaar. There's no doubt about that. No, the sewer used to be closed here, but the fallout and the blast have collapsed the sewer, and now it is open for everyone to see. The water still flows not very well, of course. Stagnant water and disease. I would not be drinking this water or eating any fish that come out of it, but Samson does enjoy this area, and he will relax and enjoy the breeze and the sickly sweet smell of garbage as a sewer rat does. No, as you know, Samson is absolutely in love with Bella, and he has set up this picnic and he intends to propose to her tonight with this lovely sewer rat picnic that he just thinks is the bee's knees. No, coming down the beach, it is absolutely trashed with garbage, leaves, rotting things, and an abandoned lighthouse. The beaches of the wasteland are not all foiled by just garbage. Some use the beaches for their advantage. This is Boomer's beach slash dock. No, Boomer is one of Petri's experiments. He is an off super mutant, off synth, and he has been banned from Diamond City because Diamond City discriminates against those who have been mutated by radiation, and 100% they reject all synths. Now, this area used to be a bustling harbor filled with suppliers like Voltec and Nuka-Cola, and the remnants of their supplies still exist here on the harbor. No, why wouldn't you come and take all these goods? Well, the harbor supports a lot of mutated sea life, like that overgrown mutated crab over there. It is a dangerous venture, but Boomer is a super mutant. He is strong. Also, he's a synth. So he is even more strong. We can see the harbor and all of the shops that used to run and prosper here by the ocean. Boomer has found a sufficient boathouse to live in and work it. Boomer spends most of his days in the shack, surrounded by his favorite possessions, like his old flight uniform, his old awards from being a bomber in the airbase, and of course, some delicious snacks. He spends his days working on this particular boat, which he intends to launch, maybe even turn into an airplane one day. And he sits in his lovely massage chair and has chats with the bugs in the walls. For not a lot of people want to be friends with super mutant synth. Coming out this way, you can see that Boomer continues his work beside his boathouse and has a lot of tools, and he's also drying fish for sustenance because, you know, Boomer's still a hungry guy. Coming down to the left on the river side, we are making our way to the airport where Boomer one day hopes to get back into the sky and fly a plane again one day. Now, this is the airport entrance to the island, and of course, when you come here, you will be smack dab into the city. This is another entryway to Diamond City, so let us make our way back to resident services. Coming back out of resident services, instead of going north, we are going to continue west, and actually come and check out Bella's diner. Now, Bella is a feared raider and she wants nothing but admiration. And she knows that weary wanderers and convoys find refuge in this diner. But she decided to take it as her own because you can't become a famous pop star if you don't have an audience. Now, a rumor of who had taken over the diner had gone around, and Bella doesn't really have an audience anymore. Far and few between. Only those in absolute desperation come to visit Bella's diner. And Samson, of course. Bella's Diner, once owned by Ketchup and now commandeered by Bella. She has turned this diner into her very own karaoke bar. Of course, the food in here never rots. It is McDonald's quality, never dying food, Twinkie surviving French fries. So Bella has a lot of sustenance. So she has set up a little audience herself, her prized plushies. Now you can come here and eat the food, but at the cost of quote fan schmastic entertainment. Coming out of Bella's Diner, if you are lucky enough to get past her traps and spiky fences and all of the wasteland dangers, behind there is an access path to what those say lead to paradise. We have the edge of the city and you can see the rooftops on one side and the balconies and a beautiful trail and forest on another. You can climb up this area to see a bit of a view of the city streets. Of course, if you turn the camera, you can see a little bit more. Coming up through the trail, it becomes clear that this is a forest, but we're not exactly out of the city just yet. You can see owls in the background supporting the Volt Tech flags. No, this is no ordinary owls. This is a vault. And only the bravest of brave will enter it, for rumors of this vault have traveled far and wide throughout the wastelands. Before we enter the vault, there is another way into the city. Just down here, you can see that there has been a camp set up. It is home to a death claw, and death claws are the most ferocious, strong, terrifying, and bloodlusting creatures of the wasteland. So this camp has been abandoned for many, many, many years. All right, let us make our way back to the vault. Coming into the vault, the first room is supposed to represent the entrance to a vault. Now, we don't have giant gears or anything, but I placed some gears there in these robot stands to look like the entrance of a vault, leftover vault tech suits, and of course, roaches. Because as soon as you get out of a vault in Fallout, you gotta fight some roaches. Sometimes you even gotta fight them in the vault. Just happens. Now, all vaults run experiments, and I based the experiment for this vault off of my 30-day challenge island. So Graham is responsible for the experiment on the vault, and the story goes is that Graham is absolutely obsessed with these two little bunnies, but they got a disease that made them bright colors and polka dots. So he's been running experiments on animals trying to recreate the disease so he could find a cure. No, Graham is not the greatest scientist, so his experiments are creating plant life to grow, vegetation to glow, and the animals to glow, but not with pink polka dots. And in this cryogenic chamber, we have Charlize, Amrey's henchman. So clearly, this vault has been abandoned. He has moved on from this vault and has made his way on to Hodgepodge, my 30-day challenge island. Well, let's keep going. Let's keep looking at the vault. Coming back to the front room, and to the left, we have a little bit of a schoolroom where Amrey is clearly the teacher, and he is brainwashing Charlize your to be as henchmen, and of course, reminding her of the goal to save the bunnies. And that is it. Of course, all of this is sanctioned or unsanctioned or sanctioned by Volt Tech. The point of the Volts was not only to save humanity, but to run experiments. On Oddpodge, he was intoxicating the water, and here he's just intoxicating the food. And clearly, some of that obviously got into the water because the giant vines and plants are all around. The chef did not make it, unfortunately. And yeah, this is what they are feeding them. Voltec just takes the highest bidder. If you want to volt and you got the money, they don't ask you why. They just let you do it. And you can run whatever experiment you want. In here, we got the barracks. There used to be some security here, but clearly the vault has been abandoned for years. And Charlize gets to live right in there. Nope. At least they got toilet paper and a toilet. It's not the worst living conditions. It's not great. First, the green glowing moss from my challenge island is everywhere. And in the basement, we have the power room. All volts of power, and they are powered by power cores and machines. And this is my creation of the power area in this vault. It is very, very noisy. And there are vines and toxic waste, and clearly some malfunctioning and happening around here. Overall, I'm very pleased with all this vault turned out. Alright, let's go. Coming out of the vaults, shooken with the possibilities that Vault Tech is so cruel. Your mind struggling with the concepts of the lack of humanity. Finally, you start feeling the warm breezes of the valley. No adventurer has come so far to set up camp in this area. Coming across the bridge, we are officially in the farmcore side, the Nelwin Valley. The Nelwin Valley is peaceful, beautiful, lush, and of course, abundant with crop. Coming on this way, there is clearly cultivation and agriculture, a cabbage, wheat, and potato garden, and of course, even more vegetables. There is clearly a community here with a beautiful community feast just outside of the inn. No, the inn is home to Alora Dannon, and she does her best to protect all those of the valley, from the largest brooding of dakinis to the tiniest of brownies, which she has created little housing in the forest just beyond her inn. Coming into the inn, we have a bit of eating hall or mess hall or something like that, where all of the locals can come and enjoy some pub fare like wine and mead and fresh made foods from all of the vegetables in the valley. Coming up to the north of the house, we have the kitchen where all the food is prepared. There are some barrels for the mead and the wine, fresh baked breads, desserts, pastries, and a little area for Laura Dannon to sit and prep all of the foods for the day, along with some cute little wooden stoves to prepare hot meals and hot bread in. Coming down and to the left, we have a room for board. A musician is currently staying in this room. Ukulele, a guitar, and suitcase. They enjoy the beautiful light coming through the window and the comforts that this inn enjoys. Lush, plush blankets and pillows and all the towels you can ask for. And of course, room service. Over to the right, we have another room for bird. This one's got a little tea cozy, a place to write letters, a bed, some candles, a music box, and fresh flowers picked from the valley. And of course, endless supply of pillows, because who doesn't want to be comfy? Downstairs, we have the stores. We have fermenting turnips, wine, grain, vegetables. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe some water or wine. I thought it looked nice. That's why I put it there. More wine, more stirs, and a place for the employees to come and have a drink after work. And of course, spare chairs because, this is an inn. You can never have enough spare chairs. And then upstairs, we have where Laura Dannon lives. She has a cute little bedroom area over here and a cute little bird there that chirps around. She got her crafts, sewing crafts, a little guitar, yarn, very crafty lady. She's been making houses for the brownies outside, of course, and she has her own private stores up here with candied apples and deliciousnesses. Now, coming out of the inn, if you weren't looking for it, you might have missed it, but there is a secret trail to the home of the Nelwins, Flurry and Amrey. Now, this area is perfectly peaceful and elegant. It is protected by magic and Amrey himself, and of course, the natural protection of the landscape. Coming down this way, you can see the rivers and the waterfalls from the journey that Willow made to save the princess Aurora, and a little carriage by the river to pay homage to that fact. The glow of the trees and the brightness of the flowers in absolute contrast to the abandoned city. Coming down this way, we have their homestead. Now, Amrey is an antique guy, and he has created all of the things for him in Flurry. He works hard in his construction and on the firm. Everything has been made by him. All the chairs, tables, burns, and fencing. Over this way, we have Flurry tucked away in her cute little cottage. Of course, she has an apiary and she absolutely loves nature. She lives perfectly tucked into a beautiful landscape, protected by the valley and the ocean breeze. Over here, she is clearly a lovely, innocent Nelwyn. She spurts teddy bear picnics, ukuleles, and sandcastles, and of course, a beautiful, cute little lighthouse. On this side, Amrey spends his days fishing in the ocean just to get a little bit of protein on his plate for him and Flurry's dinners. The homestead is small and the farms aren't huge, but they are tiny, so they survive. Flurry has a beautiful plant collection in her cottage, and it is overflowing her area. Every new plant means furniture's just gotta go, and this is how she prefers it. She sits here and plays the ukulele or the harp, singing lullabies to her plants. Of course, she has a quaint little kitchen to make pies and cakes for an Amrey, and a spot of tea. What a beautiful, relaxing cottage she has. On the other hand, Amrey is a grouch and he is very much into woodworking, making all of his own furniture and reading and sitting by the fire. He is a simple, grumpy hamster, but he does love Flurry and he hopes to win her one day. And Flurry is growing fonder and fonder of Amrey every single day. Coming out of the Nelwin Valley, we make our way back to the inn. All with kind and good-hearted intentions are welcome here in the valley, and those kind people have started a beautiful town, popping up shops and the beginnings of a town center. We have the Able sisters here, and they weave and sew all day long, not only creating clothes, but creating important supplies like fishing nets and burlap sacks for the farmers of the valley. And of course, they have a little firm of their own. Coming over the bridge, we have Eunice's laundry service. Now, Eunice grows cotton in her garden so she can weave her thread, and she is trying her best to grow some turnips as well. Maybe this bunny has something to do with the fact that her turnips aren't doing very well. She washes her clothes in the river, uses the wild lavender growing by her cottage to bring beautiful lavender breezes to the valley, and she hangs them to dry in the fresh warm sun. Eunice has a simple dwelling with fresh baked bread, tea, a small kitchen, and a lovely sewing area. No, she spins the cotton from her garden and patches up any socks that any member of her community. She is definitely a cutie patootie pie and an innocent girl that definitely belongs in the safety of the Nelwin Valley and the community around her. Going back and coming up over the bridge, this is probably my favorite view of the Nelwyn Valley. It is the double feature bridge with the double waterfall, the flamingos, the ducks. I just absolutely love this view. Not all that live in the valley are interested in flowers and vegetables and the sunshine. Shep lives in a mucky, muddy forest with his pigs. Shep raises pigs not only to feed the valley, but to search for the most magical of mushrooms that the valley has to offer. Shep spends most of his time in his little cottage shack, breathing in the skunky air that he's created by burning and inhaling some questionable plants and eating some questionable mushrooms. Of course, he loves pizza, music, and trinkets, and he has made some visual friends and collected quite a bit of things over the years. But Shep is living as a Delulu land, and he is very docile and harmless, stinky, skunky dog. Coming out of Shep's place, we can see that his forest is absolutely lush with magical mushrooms, and those piggies are finding them for sure. Coming back down through the town center here and out of the secrecy and protection of the natural landscape of the valley, we come across a ginormously large firm. Now, the scientist Blathers have found the lushness and beautiful soils of the valley, and he is determined to cultivate enough food not only for the members of the valley but the city as well. He has used every single inch of this area of the valley to create sustenance and grow all the produce to feed everyone in the entire world. No, Blathers is waiting on the word of his colleague Brewster because not only the city and the valley need food, but he is certain that there are other lands out there that are suffering from the fallout, and he wants to share the splendor of the Nelwyn Valley with everyone. He has not wasted a single space for this firm to propagate the most delicious and nutrient vegetables. He is getting ready to send out an expedition, and of course, nothing wrong with a little bit of fishing. You have a dock here and the lighthouse. He is hoping that fishermen and travelers from the seas find their way to the valley and they could rebuild civilization with peace, love, and prosperity. An ambitious dream, I know, and I hope it does work out for him. For the city lies just to the east. Coming out through Blather's firm, we can make our way back to the city. Now, there is an area between the city and the valley that is respected by both sides. This memorial garden holds the memories of the past and the present, leaving portraits behind of those who have been lost to us. This garden is kept prim and the stones are kept clean, for no one dares to disrespect such a sacred place. On the beach here, there is a special memorial for Ike's daughter and wife. Ike comes here to reflect and remember the times of the past. And when he does get those white lilies to grow, he places them in a vase. Now, Ike often thinks about leaving and going to the west and living his life all in the farmcore side, but he always finds himself making the venture back to his radio tower, coming up all of the Memorial Garden Dead Man's Pass. Those who travel this know what is on the other side, and those who travel south hope for a better life. This is the edge of the city, an old city park with balconies and backyards to line up the way. And coming up through the park, we are back at Bella's Diner. And that's Nockmaar. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I hope you come and visit. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. And if you found yourself enjoying the video, feel free to follow the channel and like the video. And I will see you in the next adventure. Cheers!